It's constructive feedback.
Yeah.
You're not going to yell at a person.
No, gosh, no.
Or demean the person, say you're dumb, you're this, you're not,
No.
da-da-da-da-da. It's just, you want to encourage people to think,
Yeah.
people to do.
And one of the things that we try to do is, an idea isn't ever just one little thing, right? It's a collection of things that sometimes somebody will say, I want to do X, and we'll say, okay, most of that doesn't make a ton of sense, and that's fine, but there's something in there that we can extract and turn into something bigger. And that's really the challenge of a founder with a team like we have, is to say, there's all these things that are going on. It's the signal to noise ratio, right? Like, how many things do I have to hear to find the one thing that makes a lot of sense?
Do that again. I like that. Signal
to noise ratio. Yeah, so you get a lot of, one of the things with founders, both new founders and people who've been doing this forever, you get a lot of feedback, a lot of people telling you what to do, a lot of people asking you to build things, and the ability to suss out, like, the one carrot of wisdom, right? The one thing that you should go do is a learned tactic. It's a learned trick, and it just takes listening to a lot of stuff before you can be like, okay, that's the one thing I should pay attention to, and then everything else is noise.
Okay. Now let's get down to the brass tacks
Sure.
of your business, and also your business. I've told you I don't believe in selling.
Yeah.
I believe in helping people, showing them my proposition,
Yeah.
listening to them, asking them questions, be transparent and be truthful.
Yeah.
I don't want to tell anybody what to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to, do the fast close, the hard close. I don't want to go all the sales courses who really teach you to manipulate people.
Right.
I don't want to manipulate people.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you're not a salesperson,
Oh God, no.
but we can go too far with it.
Yeah.
That's what we believe, and that's our core.
Yeah.
Should be your core.
Yeah.
That's the right way to do business. But now let's go one step further.
Mm-hmm.
What's the most important thing you got to have to make your business succeed?
People.
Well, but you got to have sales.
Oh, money.
You got to have sales.
Money and then people.
We cannot. You've got to have revenue.
Yeah.
You get revenue from somebody buying your product.
Right.
So you've got to have sales. I just don't believe in selling them. I believe in building the relationship, listening and solving problems, right?
Yeah.
But you've got to have sales. So therefore, once you decide you're going to, whatever you're going to do, and now you're going to build websites, right?
Yeah.
How did you go about finding people that wanted you to build those websites to create revenue for you?
Yeah, so one of my favorite kind of founders in Atlanta is the founder of MailChimp, Ben Chestnut, and they're a wildly successful email marketing company. And I learned from him that instead of going out and actively selling to people, like you just said, build beautiful things, build interesting things, build things that help people and actually work. As silly as that sounds, that's our philosophy.
That's good.
Just build things that work.
Do it again. Do it again.
Yeah.
I want our people to hear that one more time. Do it again.
Yeah, it's build really beautiful, important things that work, that help people, right?
Yeah.
And that's our philosophy. We are 11 people. We don't have a single salesperson. I'm the sales guy, right?
Yeah.
And all I do is make sure that the things that we build are noticed by people in the world.
So how do they see you?
Yeah.
How do you contact them? How do they see your beautiful things that you're building?
Yeah, so what we do is we contribute a lot to the communities in which we work. We do a lot of work in healthcare, right? So we'll build free solutions. So we'll build tools that anybody can use for free in the healthcare world. And what that does is it gets people noticing us, who we are, and they'll say, wow, this thing's really cool. This thing works really well. It's really elegant. It works on my phone. And people will call us and say, hey, I heard you built this really great thing. Can you help me build my thing? And by not pushing them, which is,
You went out with free stuff, free samples, free this, and then people came back to you, could you help me do this?
Exactly, yeah. And the key with a new business, what I tell everybody is, you build something that people love and you get your first customer. Whatever it takes to get your first.
How do you know what they love? How did you?
Do they use it?
You build elegant things.
Yeah.
How did you decide what elegant was?
Yeah, well, and that's a matter of taste, right? So fortunately, my co-founders, I am not, I don't have a lot of good taste when it comes to internet technologies.
Yeah.
I know how to build stuff, but I'm not the purveyor of good taste. But my partners build really elegant, beautiful things, solutions, applications.
Sure.
And fortunately, they have a good pulse.
They Okay.
They've
have a good
done
pulse
this.
for that. They probably talk to people.
Yeah.
They read and find out what people are looking for. Kind of like a guy named Steve Jobs did it.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, you look at, I see Apple everywhere.
Yeah.
Wherever I travel in the world.
it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
But they're so meticulous.
Yeah,
In how the device looks.
absolutely.
And how it works.
Yeah.
And you know if it doesn't work really great, it's going to work greater tomorrow.
Yeah,
It's kind of the thing that we need to learn in
Yeah.
business, because we've got to have the same attention to detail
Yeah.
of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And we may be a carpenter,
Yeah.
we may be a bricklayer, a landscape architect, but
Yeah.
it's a matter of doing elegant work,
yeah,
work that just looks good.
yeah,
You know, your grass that you laid down is growing, and I went up my backyard. It was just beautiful. And
Yeah.
we had somebody come in that fixed our lawn
Yeah.
because it was broken.
Yeah.
People want really good work.
Well, and the other thing that we do is we make our clients feel like they're part of our family. You know, we treat them as well as we possibly can.
So if you're doing that, you're building relationships.
Absolutely.
Is
It's not
that
sales.
important to your business?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so we spend a lot of time with our clients. We spend a lot of time, kind of get back to your first question, which is how do we know if somebody wants to use something? We watch them use it. We will literally spend a lot of time with a new product watching people use it, and we'll just kind of stand behind and just watch. And just by observing somebody, and again, whether it's carpentry or landscape architecture or solution, like internet solutions, by watching your customer actually interact with whatever it is you do, you can glean from that whether or not they love it or they're just sort of like, meh, I don't really care. And so we spend a lot of time with our clients. We spend a lot of time hearing what their problems are, and working with them, and we're very consultative. So one thing that we do that sort of builds trust is we talk our clients out of giving us money more than we talk them into giving us money. Yeah. And by telling them like, hey, look, you can give me $50,000 for this, but I'm telling you can do it for $5 if you go over here and do it. I promise you. That engenders more loyalty and trust.
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 It builds credibility
It does.
and trust. And when someone trusts you,
Yeah.
they're going to come to you continually.
Absolutely.
You know, when you are doing the sales pitch.
Yeah.
And doing the pressure sales.
Yeah.
And you need to buy this. This is the greatest thing in the world. Da 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 da. They're going to shut down.
Yeah.
They're going to shut down. If more people would understand, stop selling people.
Yeah.
Build relationships.
Yep.
And I guess in building this trust, you must be asking that customer or prospect questions.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
lot of
there's
questions.
a lot of questions.
Isn't that a unique thing to ask your customers what they need?
Yeah. Ask simple questions and listen. Gosh, it's having a conversation. You know, and I've learned, my background again is in technology, and my training is all in developing. But I've learned over the years that the most effective way to sell is to just have a conversation. It's just to talk to people.
All right, now we live in the digital world.
Yeah.
Huh? People buy off the internet.
Mm-hmm.
There are companies like Amazon.
Yeah.
They never touch anybody. What makes, I know the convenience and and this so forth, but they're not having any interaction. Now we get in the digital world. How do we still touch and they still trust and they still?
Yeah, I think it's in that world, in the sort of low margin, high volume kind of world, I think it's still critical to have a touch point with the client, where you can automate certain portions of it, a self-service where people are buying something without ever talking to a salesperson. At that point, it's really important that your website convey the value. I keep using this term, value proposition. What is it about your solution that somebody's like, I gotta have that? So you've got to figure out how to communicate that, one, but then two, I think it's important that you have a touch point, with the client where it's like, hey, you just signed up. My name's TJ. What can I do for you? Let me know.
And my wife buys off of Amazon, but they communicate to her.
Oh yeah.
She's bought. They've got the order. It'll be delivered at your house tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just she's got a Fitbit on.
Yeah.
Right. And after she gets certain things, congratulations, you did this, you did that. They are communicating. The idea of communication has got to continue on. I don't care whether you're selling or buying off the internet or not. If you want to stay in business, you've got to communicate.
Yeah, transparency. I mean,
Transparency.
in this day and age, 2015, one of the more critical things you can do as a new founder or an entrepreneur is to be transparent, both with your customers and tell them, hey, look, your product is on its way. Here's what we can do for you, or we screwed something up. You know, one of the more powerful things you can do is when you screw something up is to just say, I screwed this up, let me fix it. That's another way to engender trust and loyalty, but also with your team. You know, if you're not transparent with your team, if you're hiding things from your co-founders or your team, like that is a recipe for disaster. And I see it time and time again where people are fearful of sharing information with their team, and that doesn't go anywhere. You start a company, you start a business, you're going to get a lot of people trying to tell you what to do. It could be your mom, it could be your grandma, it could be another founder, and it's very common for new founders to get paralyzed by all the feedback they're getting, because it's never going to be the same. It's never going to be consistent. So one tactic I learned is to find somebody who kind of thinks the same way I do, somebody who has a similar sort of skill set and similar way of thinking as I do, and use them as a mentor or ask them to advise you. Once I did that, it was much easier to kind of get advice and sort of weed everybody else out, because they might have great advice, but they may not think the same way I do. And then the second question was,
what's the best way to
approach
find a mentor without being?
Yeah, I think most founders, especially in the startup world, most founders love to help other founders, right? And granted, the more successful a founder is, the more people they have asking them for advice. I think finding somebody who may not be wildly successful, somebody who has a middle level of success, they're much more willing to talk and meet for coffee and kind of hear your ideas. So it's just a matter of just reaching out to people. Most startup founders will at least email you back. And again, the more moderately successful ones or have more time to meet, don't be surprised that the wildly successful ones don't ever email you back.